it is our time for a special segment, The Big Story, where we highlight key stocks or themes and deep dive into their financial and historical performance. Today, we have Gaurav joining us on Muthoot Finance. That stock is buzzing in how. Gaurav, how did the numbers look? What worked well for this company this quarter?
Well, when we look at the quarterly numbers, they were definitely better than what the street is expecting. So let me take you through the numbers first. Net interest income that increased almost by 51%, while the pre-provisional operating profit that increased almost by 62% on a year-on-year basis. Now, both these numbers were higher than the street's expectation. And as a result, profit that increased almost by 90% on a year-on-year basis. Now, this is actually 22% higher than the street's expectation. When it comes to AUM growth, it delivered strong AUM growth of around 42%, with gold itself growing at around 40% on a year-on-year basis. Now, what actually went right with the company this quarter is that there are two factors which led to 400 crores of extra income for the company in this quarter. Now, when we look at the breakup, company received 700 crores as recoveries from NPA, and as a result, around 300 crores is what went into the interest income. And second is that they also received 100 crores from the asset restructuring company. As a result, when we look at net interest margins, they have expanded almost by 100 basis points. Companies' yields have expanded almost by 100 basis points. So definitely that was something positive. And even when we look at the asset quality, there also we did not see any concerns. In fact, it has come down to 0.15%, which is actually very great. It is lower, at least in the last 6 quarters. So definitely good set of number is what company has delivered in first quarter.
Gaurav, just coming back to that point, you said that there was this extra income of 400 crore in terms of interest income, which boosted the company's performance in Q1. So does that mean this performance is not sustainable going forward? Because loan growth is very strong, 40%, plus even on the other parameters, it's looking good. I mean, what did you take away from the management when we chatted with them about the sustainability of this kind of a performance going forward?
Well, yes. This 400 crore, this has actually contributed around 100 basis points in terms of yields in this quarter specifically. Now, what management is saying is that in the last few quarters, we have seen yields maintaining at around 18.5% and spreads maintaining at around 9.5%. Going ahead, they believe that spreads and yields will be maintained in the same range. The one-off impact, which resulted into 19.5% of yields, now that won't be there from the next quarter, but definitely they sounded optimistic when it comes to yields and spreads. In fact, what they're also saying is that in coming quarters, the cost of fund is likely to come down almost by 40 to 50 basis points, but this benefit will be passed on to the customers and they will be protecting their spreads to 9.5%. In fact, when it comes to loan book growth also, we have seen management actually guiding for the loan book growth of around 15% even in the last year, but they had fairly delivered well above 40% in this quarter as well. Management's commentary suggested that at least for this quarter, they have maintained the guidance of 15%, but the result and the overall growth will be definitely stronger than the 15% guidance. So there is also optimism. That is what we have seen from the management commentary as well.
Optimism there showing up on the price as well. But Gaurav, there was a lot of talk about Muthoot's numbers. Now, how do they compare in line with their peers for the likes of Manappuram and so on? How do the numbers look like on that front?
Well, from Manappuram, we saw some kind of disappointment in this quarter. In fact, when we look at the loan book growth, AUM growth actually declined almost by 1.5% in this quarter from Manappuram. Although when we talk about the loan book growth, that was strong at around 20-25%. But definitely some kind of pessimistic commentary is what we saw from the company. What they said is that in the coming quarters, the gold yields are expected to come down almost to around 18%. And they also said that the loan book growth for gold will be stronger. But there was some pessimistic commentary on the loan book, the gold yields. And that is the reason why we saw some weak set of numbers. But as compared to the Muthoot Finance, they do not see any kind of worries. In fact, they said that the spreads will be maintained. So that is something which was positive for Muthoot Finance as compared to Manappuram Finance in this quarter.
Okay, so Gaurav, let's wrap it up. Tell us, how did the valuations look? What are the brokerages saying now?
Well, when it comes to valuation, currently, if you look at Muthoot Finance, it is currently trading at around 3.3 times price to book 1 year forward versus its 5-year average of around 2.45. So it is a bit higher than the 5-year average, but definitely currently, if we look at the brokerages, they are being bullish. In fact, 60% of the brokers who cover the stock are maintaining their buy call, and only 16% of them still maintain the sell rating. When we look at the target price, it is as high as 3,000 rupees. In fact, today itself, we have seen brokerages actually increasing the target price. In the likes of Morgan Stanley, they have upgraded the rating and also upped the target price to 2,920. We have CLSA, who increased the target price to 2,740. And in fact, we also have Nuvama, who increased the target price to 2,993. So definitely a bullish call is coming up from brokerages as well. So all in all, when it comes to numbers, they delivered good numbers. When it comes to commentary, they delivered very optimistic commentary, and now brokerages are also being bullish about the stock. In fact, when we look at the stock performance in this year itself, for the last 1 year, it has given returns more than 50%, which is higher than the market. So definitely an impressive performance is what we have seen from the stock so far.
Okay, thank you very much for that. So valuations higher, double of that of its peer at 3 times price to book. Manappuram is at 1.5 times, higher than its long-term average. But this is the second consecutive quarter where they've delivered a loan book growth of 40%. And the street likes that. Actually, let's listen in to what George Alexander Muthoot, Managing Director at Muthoot Finance, had to say.
I don't want to change the guidance now. We've always said the 15%. Give us a little time. So usually we change the guidance after second quarter. So give us a little time. But for definitely, it will be definitely much better than what we said, 15%. There's no doubt about it. 15% plus is what I said. That is not limited to 20%. Can be even better. So we will discuss on it after the next quarter. Anyway, I'm also here next quarter. One of the things, as I've always been said, has been good demand for gold loan because of the overhang or the difficulty in getting unsecured loans everywhere. So that is one thing. One of the important things was, again, the regulatory action which came by revised final guidelines. The final guidelines, if you ask me, has been quite good, and it is quite gold loan business friendly. When I say gold loan business friendly, it is helping the gold loan business not only for the customer but also for the NBFCs and the banks. So the regulations which came gave a boost to the regulatory overhang which was always there, was whether the finance ministry, whether the Reserve Bank is keen to promote the gold loan business.
Well, time to take a short break.